Hello, hello, and welcome to episode 212 of the Compassion and Cucumbers podcast. I'm Christine.
And I'm Sam.
Here's what's coming up in today's show. In this week's Y-Files, we introduce you to the Przewalski's horses.
In our Noteworthy segment, we'll tell you about a lawsuit that challenges the EPA's approval of forever chemicals.
And in our main topic, we want to share with you why what's happening in Minnesota and other blue states is happening. Some of the reasons why it's happening. Is it really about illegal immigration?
Before we get into all that, once again, armed thugs working under the badge of immigration control have murdered an innocent U.S. citizen. Alex Preddy, an intensive care nurse at the VA, was helping a woman that was brutally knocked down by ICE agents. He was beaten, pistol whipped, and after agents removed his legally carried firearm from its holster, he was executed on the street in front of several witnesses. His last words to the woman he was attempting to help, "Are you okay?" Our federal government is again lying about the situation and blaming the victim. I know all of this is overwhelming and a lot of us are feeling helpless. What can we do? Contact your elected officials and make it clear to them that you will not vote for any representative that allows for more funding for ICE and that you expect them to do everything in their power to stop this madness. The switchboard number is 202-224-3121. Simply ask to be connected to your particular representative.
And maybe you might be asking why a vegan podcast is talking about this. We feel that if you have a platform, no matter how big or how small it is, it's your duty to speak out against what's happening in our country. We wouldn't be able to continue to do what we do if we didn't make it abundantly clear that we stand against the tyrannical methods being imposed by this current administration. The Declaration of Independence states that whenever any form of government becomes destructive, it is our right, it is our duty to alter or abolish it and institute a new government. All that said, let's get into today's show. Let's get into this week's Y-Files. The Przewalski's horses. Have you heard of the Przewalski's horses?
I have not. This is new to me.
Okay. It was new to me too, which is why I thought it would be cool to share. I love it. Like we said last week, I love it when there is a species of animal that I'm completely unaware.
And so we're going 2 weeks in a row from flat-headed cats to Przewalski's horses.
Yes, the Przewalski's horses, Equus ferus Przewalski. So here's what's going on with the Przewalski horses. They're often described as small and stocky. They are heavily built with large heads, thick necks, and short legs. They are dun-colored with a dark zebra-like erect mane and no forelock. A dark stripe continues from the mane along their backbone to a dark plumed tail. They have a yellowish white belly and dark lower legs and zebra-like stripes behind their knees. They're about 4.3 to 5 feet tall at the withers. 7.25 to 8.5 feet long and weigh 550 to 800 pounds. So they're small horses. But here's the thing. The Przewalski horses are the only real wild horses in the world. And they're a separate species from the domesticated and wild horses that we know of today, right? So Przewalski horses once ranged throughout Europe and Asia. Competition with man and livestock, as well as changes in the environment, led to the horse moving east to Asia and eventually becoming extinct in the wild. Today, they can only be found in reintroduction sites in Mongolia, China, and Kazakhstan. Przewalski horses are the only wild horses left in the world. The wild horses that abound in Australia and North America's Western Plains and East Coast Barrier Islands are actually feral domestic horses that escaped from ranches and farms and returned to the wild. Przewalski horses were last found on the Mongolian steppes of the Gobi Desert. The Gobi is different from the Sahara, as only a tiny part of it is sandy desert. It is extremely dry, but the region also has springs, steppes, forests, and high mountains, and supports a great diversity of animals. The steppe of Mongolia may represent the greatest expanse of largely unaltered grasslands in the world. Mongolia is an Alaska-sized country sandwiched between China and the former Soviet Union. It is a land of extremes, as summer temperatures can soar to 104 Fahrenheit, while winter temperatures can plunge to 50 below zero. So this article goes on to tell you about the food and eating habits of the Przewalski horses, their social structure, their reproduction and development. But what I found was the most interesting is that the Przewalski horses are really the only technically wild horses in existence in the world.
Yeah, and they were once thought to be the ancestor to domestic horses, but they are actually distant cousins.
Yeah.
Mitochondrial DNA suggests that they diverged from a common ancestor about 500,000 years ago.
Yeah, isn't that amazing?
So cool.
It's so cool. I've never heard of them. They're cute as can be. Which,
They are.
I mean,
Just beautiful.
I know really doesn't come into play here, but they're just so cute to look at. They're just these small horses. They're very zebra-ish, zebra-like. And the fact that I have never heard of them, if you've heard of the Przewalski horses, and this is not news to you, please let me know. Because, again, I'm just amazed that I shouldn't be because there's so many varied species throughout the world. And I shouldn't be amazed that I can find something I've never heard of, an animal that I've never heard of, and be amazed by its existence.
Yeah.
And interested in finding out, about them and where they live and all that.
And before we move on to the next thing, there are a couple of fun facts here. And I
give me
know how
some-
you love a fun fact.
Come on, these are fun facts, guys. Let's have fun with them.
Przewalski's horses have 66 chromosomes compared to the 64 that domestic horses have. It is unusual in that they can produce fertile hybrids with the domestic horse that are able to breed and produce offspring, and those offspring will have 65 chromosomes.
Oh, that's weird.
Yeah, the hybrids look like Przewalski horses, and the only way to identify them is through chromosome testing.
Wow.
Right?
Okay.
And the other fun fact is that Przewalski horses are called taki, which means spirit in Mongolia.
Oh, that's great. I don't know if you've ever watched any documentaries about Mongolia and the people that live in Mongolia, the native people of Mongolia, how they're nomadic, the nomadic lifestyle, and how they put up these yurts and travel around to where the food is for, I don't know if it's reindeer or what they're usually
I do think reindeer
moving around for.
are a major food source, yes.
It's their lifestyle is really, really interesting.
Yeah.
I don't know, for some reason recently, and I'm sure it's just a form of escapism, I've been getting into watching vlog type content from people who live really far away.
Yeah. Yeah.
There was the woman who lived in
Well, oh yes, Christine has been
Russia.
completely immersed in a vlog by a creator from
Svalbard, which is it's an archipelago really close to the North Pole. It's under the umbrella of the Nordic government. But it's, they have the polar night and the polar day. There's no trees on Svalbard, which I think I would miss trees.
I absolutely would miss trees.
But it is amazingly beautiful and intense. The weather is intense and the temperatures are very extreme. And their way of life is so interesting and yet so similar to ours. They just deal with what they have to deal with.
Of course.
You can only get to certain places in the wintertime by snowmobile and in the summertime by boat.
That's great.
And I don't know. I'm sure it's some form of escapism on my part.
Would not surprise me.
Yeah. But it's very interesting. I just love to see how other people are living.
Yeah.
I'm always thrilled to see the differences.
Yeah.
And then surprised at some of the similarities, given how different their geography is,
Yeah, well, I think it's a really important thing to do as well. Certainly Americans have a terrible reputation for being self-absorbed and unaware of how other people live.
Yeah.
And, thinking about Svalbard, which is part of Norway and which is technically part of Northwestern Europe, wouldn't necessarily think that there would be a huge difference. You know, like you think of going to London, let's say.
Yeah.
And that even though there are definite differences in the way daily life works,
Yeah.
at its core, it's very, very similar to what we experience here.
Yeah.
But somewhere like Svalbard is so very, very different. But I think that, you know, many Americans wouldn't necessarily perceive that without seeing it for themselves.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I think it's great. I love that you are immersed in
I highly recommend
other ways of living.
if you're looking for like calming creators that are putting forth just like calming stuff. Look on YouTube for creators that are just showing like day-to-day life in other places in the world, because I don't know, there's something about it that is extremely calming and unifying at the same time. You know, I mean, this is like mankind living thousands and thousands of miles away from what's going on here and how we live. And I don't know, it's good for my psyche.
Well, absolutely. And I think it also underlines that, you know, what is happening here in the United States, it's not the center of the universe.
Right.
You know?
Yeah. Maybe there's a little of that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's a good reminder.
Yeah. Let's move on to our noteworthy segment.
This is coming to us from the Wisconsin Independent. Conservation groups have filed a lawsuit against the Environmental Protection Agency over its approval of a so-called forever chemical insecticide.
You may have heard that there is a resurgence in allowing these forever chemicals to be used on food crops and whatnot.
The insecticide, called isocycloserum, is a type of chemical known as perfluoroalkyl and polyfluoroalkyl substances, or PFAS, known for accumulating in the environment. It was approved for use on golf courses, lawns, and a wide range of food crops. The lawsuit points to research by the EPA on animals, which shows the insecticide affects their reproductive ability and harms the liver. Nathan Donley, Environmental Health Science Director at the Center for Biological Diversity, says its approval points to the power of chemical manufacturers. He noted that 4 of the top political appointees now in the EPA's Office of Chemical Safety and Pollution Prevention are former lobbyists for the pesticide industry. The scientific consensus on the harms from these chemicals is so clear and ingrained that to have one of these pesticides just be approved a few months ago is so frustrating to see, said Donley. It really gets at how much influence the pesticide industry has over the approval of these products in this country. The EPA has proposed mitigations to reduce the risks and says it's providing growers with flexibility to control pests. That includes requiring spray drift buffers and prohibiting use in the days leading up to blooms of crops and at times of the day when pollinators are the most active. The EPA's own research has found bees and other pollinators could be exposed to 1,500 times the lethal level of isocycloserum when collecting pollen and nectar near treated orchards. Donley predicted that the use of these types of pesticides will affect the health of future generations. The fact that these chemicals will be around for an incredibly long time means a lot of the harms that come from them aren't going to be felt by ourselves, said Donley. They're going to be shouldered by our children and our children's children. So it's really the next generation that is going to be paying the price for the mistakes that we're making today.
It's a huge mistake to be approving more of these forever chemicals.
Absolutely.
And sure, you can say, well, I'll buy organic. But the problem is when they're used in such a wide way that even organic farmers have to worry about the groundwater being poisoned, the air around their farms being poisoned, pollinators carrying, tainted pollen from one plant on a farm miles away.
Certainly.
To, and it's the effects of these chemicals are super, super long lasting.
Yes.
Our health doesn't seem to be an issue at all.
Yeah.
Public health is not an issue at all. Now, we've recently just exited the WHO. So the World Health Organization recently removed the U.S. flag from their buildings.
It's so funny. I'm sorry. You just said the WHO. I thought of the band. Not the World Health Organization. I'm sorry. It took me a second to realize what you were talking about. I thought you had just gone completely off the rails.
In the words of the WHO, we won't get fooled again.
There you go.
But no, that's I was talking about the World Health Organization.
That was awesome.
Again, in the words of the WHO, the new boss is the same as the old boss.
Right.
So, yeah, the WHO had a lot to say about governments and politics. But yes, I was talking about the World Health Organization. So, yeah, public health does not seem to be on the forefront of any of the policies being put forth by this administration. And look, this is not a partisan issue. Administrations in the past, both Democratic and Republican,
oh, absolutely,
also do not have public health in the forefront of their policies.
No, they never had.
They never have.
The healthcare industry, big pharma, and big food.
Yeah, exactly.
They're interested in profit. They are not interested in public health.
Exactly. Anything else we want to say about the suit against the EPA?
No, other than I really hope it's successful.
Yeah, I mean, I think the EPA needs to change their name because they're not protecting anything anymore.
Oh, and they haven't been for a really long time.
I know. The Environmental Scam Association. How about that?
Sure. Put it in the suggestion box.
Okay. I'm going to write a strongly worded letter to have the EPA change its name. Oh, God.
Oy.
Add it to the long list of strongly worded letters I need to write.
Right.
Should we move on to our main topic?
Let's do it. So here we go. This is coming to us from Democracy Docket. Attorney General Pam Bondi has demanded access to Minnesota voter rolls after a fatal Border Patrol shooting.
Yeah, interesting.
Just hours after federal immigration officers shot and killed a man in Minneapolis, U.S. Attorney General Pam Bondi seized upon the incident to demand access to Minnesota's voter rolls, directly tying the Trump administration's quest for voters' unredacted personal data to its aggressive immigration raids across the state. In a letter to Governor Tim Walz on Saturday, Bondi blamed state and local leaders for the unrest ignited by the Trump administration's expansive immigration enforcement operations. She claimed that Walz could restore the rule of law by complying with a list of demands, including giving the Department of Justice the state's voter registration records. Allow the Civil Rights Division of the Department of Justice to access voter rolls to confirm that Minnesota's voter registration practices comply with federal law as authorized by the Civil Rights Act of 1960, Bondi said in the letter, which was first obtained by Fox News. The letter adds the state's unwillingness to share voting data to a litany of grievances the Trump administration has leveled against Minnesota, which range from the local Democratic leaders' rejection of immigration and customs enforcement actions to a long-standing welfare fraud scandal. Bondi's other demands include sharing Minnesota's data on Medicaid and supplementary food assistance with the federal government, ending sanctuary policies, and supporting and collaborating with ICE. This would allow the government to investigate fraud and curb crime and violence in the state, the Attorney General claimed. In sum, Bondi's letter represents a major assault on Minnesota's sovereignty, demanding that it forfeit its ability to make and enforce its own laws and maintain its voter rolls without oversight from the executive branch, which does not have authority over elections. Earlier this week, Minnesota rejected the DOJ's demand for data on its same-day voter registration and vouching system. Minnesota leaders described the request as an unlawful federal attempt to intrude on sensitive voter information and the state's authority. Bondi's message came as Minnesota was reeling from the second fatal shooting by a federal agent in Minneapolis this month. Earlier Saturday, a Border Patrol officer shot and killed 37-year-old Alex Preddy as at least 6 other agents held him to the ground. The Department of Homeland Security claimed Preddy approached federal agents with a handgun and was shot after federal agents failed to disarm him. However, bystander video of the incident refutes DHS's account. Footage shows that agents confronted Preddy, who was holding a phone in one hand and had his other hand raised. It also shows that after several agents wrestled Preddy to the ground, an agent pulled a gun from the man's waistband before a Border Patrol officer fired the first shot. After that first shot, the agent continued firing on Preddy as he lay motionless. In total, federal agents fired at least 10 shots within 5 seconds, according to a New York Times analysis. After the shooting, Minneapolis Police Chief Brian O'Hara said that Preddy was a lawful gun owner with a permit to carry and had no criminal background. Preddy's death came just over 2 weeks after ICE agent Jonathan Ross fatally shot 37-year-old mother of 3, Renee Good, in Minneapolis. During an interview with Fox News after the shooting, Bondi said the DOJ sent Waltz the letter on Saturday in order to demand that he better support President Trump. He better support the men and women in law enforcement because if he doesn't, we are. And that's what we're doing right now, Bondi claimed. You know, it's a real shame that our attorney general can't seem to put together a reasonably well-composed sentence.
Yeah.
Okay. Anyway, moving on. The attorney general also said that recent protests against Trump's immigration raids in Minnesota have been organized, but did not specify who or what was organizing them.
I would hope that they'd be organized.
One would think.
Yeah.
It's extremely organized, Bondi claimed. The signs they have are all matching. They're well written. And look at what's happening today. How did these people go out and get gas masks?
Amazon?
Yes,
The same
exactly.
place that half of the ICE people are getting all of their fake military gear.
I was going to say, and let's talk about the people masquerading as ICE,
Yeah.
not those who are actually ICE.
Yeah.
And it's very difficult to tell the difference.
How can you tell the difference? They don't acknowledge who they are.
That's right.
They all wear masks. They don't, identify themselves in any way.
Yep. In claiming that the protests are organized, Bondi could be attempting to create a pretext for Trump to invoke the Insurrection Act and deploy the military to Minneapolis, which the president threatened to do last week. Legal experts have warned that DOJ officials may be attempting to fabricate justification for the Insurrection Act by investigating Walz, Minneapolis Mayor Jacob Frey, and other local leaders as part of a conspiracy probe. As with the killing of Good, Trump officials almost immediately deemed Preddy a domestic terrorist and sought to stop local law enforcement agencies from investigating the shooting. The Minnesota Bureau of Criminal Apprehension said DHS officials blocked its agents and crime scene personnel from accessing the crime scene. Outside of Minnesota, the DOJ is seeking access to statewide voter rolls in dozens of states. But the campaign has so far not held up in court. On Friday, a federal court in Georgia rejected the DOJ's voter roll lawsuit because it had been filed in the wrong district. Federal judges dismissed similar DOJ lawsuits in California and Oregon, and one filed by a right-wing group in Utah.
So this is, let's face it, it's never really been about immigration.
No.
You might see people saying, well, Obama deported thousands and thousands of people. He did. He did deport thousands of people.
Yes.
But there wasn't unrest on the street.
No.
There weren't people being murdered in cold blood. There weren't U.S. citizens being snatched up and brought to detention centers only to sit and wait for God knows how long before they were released because they were unlawfully detained.
Yeah.
So it's not about immigration.
It's not.
It's about retaliation, and
Yes.
it's about getting voter rolls so that they can target Democratic voters.
But I do think it goes further than that as well.
Yeah.
I mean, President Trump has threatened to invoke the Insurrection Act since taking office.
Yep.
Okay, so it's been over a year now, just over a year, that he's been threatening it. The thing is, there hasn't been a single inciting incident that would allow him to do so. There
Right.
hasn't been anything big enough.
As hard as he's trying.
As hard as he's trying.
As hard as they're pushing.
And so I absolutely believe that these incidents, starting in LA and in Oregon and now Minnesota, Chicago, Maine,
Yep.
All over
Portland.
the country. Yes, absolutely.
Yeah.
These incidents are essentially being manufactured.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, they're goading. They're
Yes.
goading people.
In the hope of giving Trump a ironclad reason to invoke the Insurrection Act.
Yeah.
Because once the Insurrection Act has been invoked, things are going to go downhill.
Yeah, all hell breaks
really
loose.
fast.
Yeah.
All hell will break loose.
Yeah, and I'm not sure if you've heard, but I mean, you know how Trump had the East Wing of the White House destroyed?
Yes.
For his air quote beautiful ballroom.
Uh-huh.
But what's happening is there's some sort of bunker being built
Underneath it,
on
yeah.
that property. There's no ballroom being built right now.
No.
You can look, it's chaos there.
Sure.
But what they're saying is being built is some sort of bunker. He does not want to leave. He doesn't want to leave, and if he's gone or dies or whatever, JD Vance will go down into that bunker and they will send troops out onto the street and insist that the elections need to be canceled. That's their plan.
I mean, I don't know that I can state equivocally that is the plan.
Yeah.
Would it surprise me if there's some kind of plan to that effect?
Yeah.
No, not at all.
No, I mean, all I can say is go down in your bunker. History has said that fascists that go down into their bunker usually doesn't end up, working out too well for them. So I'm glad you can laugh at this point.
No, I'm sorry, but just how many fascists in bunkers have we had?
I know, right?
I was actually asking for an answer.
Oh, well, I'm speaking of Adolf.
I know exactly.
Adolf,
I know exactly who you're speaking
okay.
of, but I just thought that was funny because it gave the image of there being a long line of fascists in bunkers.
Fascists in bunkers.
Sorry, fascists in bunkers.
Yeah.
Yeah.
These are a few of my least favorite things.
There you go.
Fascists in bunkers.
Oh my God.
Okay.
I do love rewriting song lyrics.
I do too.
That's an awesome one. That's great. We'll have to work on that. That's good.
So we'll keep an eye on what Bondi is doing, her and the rest of those evil mother, And normally at this point, we would be talking about restaurants, but we're still tossing around ideas for a new segment. And if you have any ideas, we're certainly willing to hear them. Send us an email at compassionandcucumbers@gmail.com. Let us know what you want us to be talking about.
Yeah, we've been talking a fair amount about it between ourselves, but the lightning bolt of inspiration has not struck.
Not a huge
yet.
lightning bolt.
No, and so we're still looking for some suggestions.
Yeah, I'm looking for the thing.
that we can then run with.
The thing that I'm going to go, that's it.
Right.
Eureka. You
want a eureka moment.
I do. I want a eureka moment.
All
So
right.
if you have any, great ideas, or even if you don't think they're great ideas, shoot them over to us because I'm really curious to see what you think we should be talking about or not talking about. So I guess it's time for our favorite portion of the show.
Must be listener shout out time.
It's listener shout out.
Just want to give a shout out to all my fans watching. I love you guys. I love you.
This week's shout out goes out to Fee Barham. Fee sent us a great message on Instagram about how she recently found our show and said, if you pick my message out for a swag bag, please save the overseas shipping for a restaurant trip and donate the goodies to someone in the U.S. who just went vegan to welcome them to our kind and fabulous community. I just wanted to say hi and thank you.
I love that.
So as a thank you for her wonderful message, we want you all to check out Fee's beautiful handmade jewelry at barhamdesigns.com. She has some absolutely beautiful pieces. There's a hedgehog.
The hedgehog was great.
Oh my gosh, the hedgehog
And
is
the
just amazing.
Moth pendant?
Yes.
There's something about that moth pendant that really, I love it.
Yeah, but so many beautiful things.
Yes, and her work is all like handmade. She forges silver and all of her own metals and creates these beautiful insects and animals. And you just have to check out her website. And I'm going to include a link in the show notes so that you can click on it and give her some support if you can.
Oh, please.
Yeah.
And for the rest of you out there, if you would like a listener shout out, just email us or text us. You can do that at compassionatcucumbers@gmail.com, or you can DM us on Instagram or Facebook.
Yeah. I guess it's time to wrap this baby up. It just feels like it went so quick compared to last week's episode.
Well, the first episode of the year, I do go on. And I'm sorry.
We both do, because we've been away and we're just excited to get back to it and all that.
Yeah, and it's just, I love London so much, and I have so much fun when I'm there, and I eat so much good food when I'm there that it's hard not to talk about it.
I know. Yeah, so I guess I'll just wrap it up. But before we go, be sure to subscribe to the show, leave us a review on your favorite podcast app, and subscribe to our YouTube, because we're really trying to grow things over there. Also, be sure to like and follow us on Facebook and Instagram for updates about the show, pics of all the vegan food we find, and more. And if you want to get news about upcoming episodes, you can do that by subscribing to our weekly newsletter at compassionandcucumbers.com.
And with that, it's time to sign off. You have just listened to episode 212 of the Compassion and Cucumbers podcast, and there's nothing left to say but where cukes and compassion are always the fashion on the podcast.
Thanks, James.
Have a great week, everyone.
We'll talk to you next Tuesday.
We love you.
Always take care of each other.
Indeed.
Bye-bye.
The end.
If you'd like to support the Compassion and Cucumbers podcast, well, you can do that by hopping on over to our Patreon page and becoming a patron. We have all the recipes from our vegan kitchen series up there, and we'll be adding some patron-only episodes in the near future. So thank you for supporting us at whatever level that you choose, and thank you again for listening to Compassion and Cucumbers podcast.